I used to think closing shifts at McDonald's were just boring, long, greasy, and quiet, but the one I worked last summer in Georgia, I can't forget. Our store was one of those older locations built back in the 70s, sitting all alone off a dark highway. The fryer room was tiny, barely enough space for 2 people, and the hum of the oil was always loud enough to drown out everything else. One night, around 2 in the morning, I was scrubbing down the fryer when I heard a faint pop, like a breaker tripping. Then everything went silent, no machines, no fans, just dead air. That's when I heard it, a voice. At first, I thought someone had left the drive-through headset on. It was a woman whispering, calm but distant. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded close, way too close. The oil in the fryer started bubbling, even though it wasn't hot, just cold grease trembling in the tray. Then the lights flickered, and in the reflection on the fryer glass, I saw something, someone standing right behind me. I spun around so fast, burning oil dripped from my glove, but nobody was there. The door was shut, the fryer was off, just silence. I told my manager the next morning. He didn't even look surprised. He just said, "You stayed late, didn't you?" They always come out when it's quiet. Turns out that restaurant was rebuilt on the same foundation as an old diner that had burned down back in 1974. 2 employees died locked inside, trapped when a grease fire spread through the kitchen. Now, some closers swear they hear whispering when they drain the oil, like a voice thanking them or asking for help. Others say that when steam rises at closing time, it forms 2 faces in the oil, a man and a woman looking up as if from underwater. I still hear that faint whisper sometimes, even when I'm just cooking at home. It always says the same thing, soft, breaking through the hiss of the oil. Don't leave me here. I'm still waiting for my break. Thanks for watching. If you have a spooky story of your own, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. See you next time. You probably think McDonald's closes at midnight and that the whole place empties out by 1, but the security cameras? They never stop recording. At least, that's what was supposed to happen until one night, when the feeds caught something that corporate still refuses to explain. This story comes from a former overnight worker in a small town in Indiana. His job was simple: clean the floors, prep the stock for the morning, and double-check all the security panels before locking up for the night. Most of the time, it was mind-numbingly boring, just empty dining areas, the faint hum of fryers cooling down, and the silence of an empty building. But then one night, around 3:14 a.m., one of the screens on his monitor bank flickered. It was camera 7, pointed right at the main dining area. There was movement. He leaned closer to the monitor, squinting. At first, he thought maybe it was just a reflection from the streetlights outside, or a moth fluttering near the lens. But no, this was a figure. A figure was walking slowly through the center of the completely empty, locked-down dining room. It was tall, moving with a strange, deliberate slowness. And its body was painted in bright red and yellow. It looked exactly like Ronald McDonald. The classic costume, the puffy red wig, the stark white face paint, the iconic striped sleeves. The worker completely froze. There hadn't been a Ronald costume at that store in years. Corporate had stopped using in-person Ronald visits way back after 2016. And more importantly, the doors were locked. He had checked them himself, every single one. The figure moved down the aisle between the tables, almost as if it were floating. There was no sound, no shadow cast under the dim emergency lights. It just glided forward. Then it stopped and slowly turned its head to look directly at the camera, and that's when he saw its face. It looked wrong, terribly wrong. The grin wasn't painted on. It was split wide open, a real mouth stretched too far, with teeth stained a sickly dark yellow. The black eye makeup wasn't neat. It was smeared up into its hairline like melted plastic, giving it a look of pure insanity. The worker stumbled back from the desk, his heart hammering against his ribs. He looked up at the wall of monitors again, and in that instant, all the feeds blinked once in perfect unison. A single dark flicker when the image returned a second later. The dining area was empty, gone. He checked the door alarms immediately. No breaches, no triggers, nothing. Still shaking, he went to rewind the footage. He had to see it again to prove he wasn't crazy, but there was nothing there. The recording on camera 7 skipped from 3 hours 13 minutes and 59 seconds directly to 3 hours 15 minutes and 0 second. An entire minute was just gone, wiped clean. The next morning, he told his manager what he saw. They were skeptical, but they checked the system logs together, and that's when they found it. Every night that week, that same camera 7 had cut out at the exact same time, 3:14 a.m. A few days later, corporate sent a technician who disabled the feed altogether, claiming it was just a faulty camera sensor that needed replacing. But the workers know better, because now, sometimes when they arrive at dawn to open the store, they'll notice something strange. Greasy, oversized shoe prints tracking through the dining area. They're large, far too wide for any normal person, and they're stained with a faint, bright red color, almost like dried paint. So if you ever find yourself working a closing shift, keep an eye on the monitors around 3:14. If the screens flicker, don't look too long. They say that sometimes the clown notices you watching, and when he does, the feed stops recording you too. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe for more strange stories. Closing shift at a fast food joint is its own special kind of nightmare. The restaurant goes quiet, all the customers are gone, but the ceiling fans keep spinning, and that awful, thick smell of fryer oil just sits heavy in the air. For most workers, the absolute worst part of the job is the walk-in freezer. Everyone dreads doing inventory in there. It's a box of perfect insulation, no cell signal, no outside sound, and absolutely no way for anyone to hear you if you needed to yell for help. Back in 2019, a manager at a Florida location never clocked out after her closing shift. The security cameras told a chilling story. Footage showed her walking into the freezer at around 11:38 p.m. And then, she just never came back out. When the morning crew arrived at 5 a.m., they found her. The handle on the inside of the door had jammed, trapping her. She'd been pounding on that door for hours, trying to get out. Inside, her phone revealed the desperate last moments of her life. It showed 5 failed calls to other employees, who had already gone home for the night. There was also one open voice memo. When they played it back, all they heard was muffled banging and the sounds of a struggle, which continued until the phone's battery finally died. Corporate came in, of course. They fixed the faulty handle. They cleaned everything up, sanitized the space, and the store opened for business the very next day as if nothing had happened. But the workers there will tell you, something is still wrong in that freezer. They swear that sometimes the heavy freezer door will rattle on its hinges, even when it's sealed shut. Other times, if you happen to leave your shift keys on the nearby prep table, you'll hear them, a faint metallic tapping noise coming from inside the freezer. It's a rhythmic knock, knock, knock that never stops until you walk over to the door. And if you're brave enough to step inside to do inventory, they say there is one more sound that'll freeze you faster than the cold ever could. It's a soft voice whispering right behind you, so close you can almost feel it on your neck. It says, "It wasn't supposed to lock." Thanks for watching. If you like stories like this, be sure to subscribe for more.